The smaller class sizes, no, you can find that in that's obviously in a lot of private schools. That's um, that's I feel like that's an especially important part because that allows for individual learning, especially when you're looking at kids with learning exceptions. They need that little bit extra time put on them, so it allows for that, and that also allows for a lack. There's not, because you get to know everybody. There's no judgment.
I'm Glenn Herbert, and I'm an editor with Our Kids. We're speaking with insiders from Canada's leading private schools to gain insights into their programs, culture, traditions, and leadership. This includes insights from parents, alumni, and administrators. This is the Our Kids Insider Perspective.
The teachers, I think one things you will notice is that, and compared to law schools, like some of your friends, like you won't, there are a lot of good teachers out there, but especially in Heritage, I have liked every single one of my teachers. And I think one of the big reasons was because that they care about us, they care about the kids. They will go the extra mile. I've seen some of my teachers, especially near the end, because of the pandemic, I struggled a lot. The principal, they went the extra mile to make sure I was still able to exceed, to make sure I was still able to get to where I was going. But the teachers they care about the students. They know that it's they know that we struggle sometimes more than other students, and they will, again, like Reggie said, they will go the extra mile to make sure we succeed and to make sure we can learn the stuff, even if they have to work like extra time or do extra things that normally other teachers wouldn't necessarily do. I believe the teachers caring is one. That definitely, the smaller class sizes, no, you can find that in that's obviously in a lot of private schools. That's I feel like that's an especially important part because that allows for individual learning, especially when you're looking at kids with learning exceptions. They need that little bit extra time put on them, so it allows for that, and that also allows for a lack. There's not, because you get to know everybody. There's no judgment, or at least what I found was. So I struggled. Well, I know it's supposed to be objective, but I struggle personally a lot with reading. And so when I would get to read, I might stumble on a couple words, but I knew that like they know that I'm struggle with reading, so I don't have to be nervous to get up and practice reading, which you should, but that's how you learn how to read. Those smart classes really make a difference. One thing, oh, I should also mention this. At the school, they have an SMT program, which is something it's something they offer at the school, and it's designed for kids with dyslexia, and it teaches you how to read in a or teaches you how to read in a way that there's a like huge science behind it, but it teaches you how to read and spell and learn how to write words, but in a different way. It more focuses on like memorization and breaking up words, which is really helpful for someone with dyslexia. And then they try to, because they can do more individual teaching, they try to, if you're doing the SMT program, they'll sometimes work that into, or take the skills you learn in the SMT program and then transfer them over to you in the classroom for you. And most kids, they might be at different levels of the SMT program, but they either have done it or they are in the process of doing it. So they'll sometimes use those skills, and then that helps you learn how to read and spell more properly. And that's a huge thing. And that's something I still use this very day. And then also, because the teachers some teachers have been there for a very long time, so they know, so they've seen a lot, and so they know how to, or they know how to try different things, and they know how to they know how to work with the kid, and they know they usually have like thing, they know sometimes what they know, if like a kid is facing this particular problem, they might have seen this in another kid before, so therefore they can approach it that way, but then they know if that doesn't work, they can approach it other ways. So, or therefore they might be a bit more experienced in dealing with some things than perhaps other schools are, and they're willing to accept that. Well, I guess the biggest thing is that they're accepting of that not every kid learns the same way. Not every kid can learn at the same time, and that's perfectly fine. And some kids, they might struggle in this, but they're awesome in this. So they can use this to maybe help them learn that, or encourage them to. One thing I love about Heritage Academy is that a lot of students are amazing drawers, really good at art. So I see like in a lot of class and stuff, very much a lot of juniors, they'll try to do a lot of art things, or like activities that I see some, I look down at the Jews and they're doing super cool stuff that I'm like jealous of. But they're and I notice they try to incorporate that, teach them, and that's a really different way. And I never really seen that kind of stuff be done at a private school. I mean, a public school, my bad. Caring, but tough in a certain way, because they'll stand up, and they'll sometimes they might, or maybe not you if you're younger, but they'll tell the parents what they need to hear, but then they'll also help them, and they'll fight for if that, or especially the principal, we're one person, but they'll work hard to get what needs to be done. Well, this goes back to the school does specialize in for kids with learning exceptions, particularly dyslexia and I think ADHD. But so a lot of students come in either with those or with other learning disabilities or exceptions. So that's a big thing. But another really big thing is that a lot of students, they come, and it's generally actually the same story, which is kind of sad, but they come with, they didn't have a good experience in the public school system. And so they're coming with these stories, and they're just, they've been beaten down so much. And then to get to the school, for a lot of them, it really, really helps them. So that's something. And then most of the kids that I've seen come in there, a lot of them, they do have the worth, it might take a bit of time before they realize they can do it. Once they do, they'll work hard to get there. A lot of them have worked very hard. A lot of my classmates, I've known them since they were in grade 6, or a couple of them since one of my many kids, but and I'm still friends with a couple of them today. But they've come such a long way, and I know it's because they've worked extremely hard to get to that point, and I'm very proud of them for that. But they, and everyone's, and because of this, because they struggled so much, and because they have an idea of what it's like to be. And the other thing is that a lot of kids, because they struggled in the learning part of public school, usually that doesn't pan so well out when trying to, in social aspects. So they know what it's like to be the odd one out, or a lot of them, they've been bullied, or they just feel like they're the only one in the classroom who can't read a word in the board or something. And so when they come here, I think this isn't, again, this is not like, but what I see a lot of the time is that they're a lot more accepting, and they're a lot more like, I remember what it was like to be that kid. I'm not going to be that person to them. And then, so I feel like we come in, you'll kind of share a common thing with other people, and then and that's not all the time always, because it's not perfect, but with all students, I know it's the same thing. So it's more, at least for me, what I find is very accepting coming into school, but then the students are all usually quite accepting of each other, and especially of working in the classroom and learning in the classroom, compared to just laughing at the person when they can't get a word or they can't, do the math problem. Well, like, I know now this kind of is on the brochure, I guess, but I think for at least for me, I really did find this to be true. They really did take to heart that no one learns the same way, and that is something that you will notice in the school. The teachers have had, and I know that some of the teachers had, growing up, they had also had problems. So, or learning disabilities, or they might have struggled in school. So they're, and therefore then they, or they understand that concept, and they will understand that, like, if you're keep struggling with this concept that you're learning, they'll say, okay, why don't we try doing it this way, or they'll allow for that. They'll allow you to learn it. They'll allow, like, you to try, like, they'll allow you to try different things, or you might come in the next day and they might have this whole new way of teaching it to you that's different. So I really think that is something that I know it's on the brochure, but that really is something that I found that they really did have, and they really did do, and they really did just take to heart. I think one of the most surprising things, at least I found, or at least, well, especially my parents, but I think this is the same for a lot of, at least not all students, because every student goes through a different thing, but for myself, but I have talked to some students, and this is the same thing for them. The immediate, and for me, I think it took 3 months, but the immediate turnaround, because, like, after talking to, like, and after my parents talking to other families and me talking to the students, the one thing, because the thing about this learning exception, it is a life, it does change your life, for not just for yourself, but for the family. Like, if your kid gets diagnosed, you'll notice it, because before there was huge, just in our house, before I was going to Heritage Academy, there was huge, like, I would be crying because I was having too much trouble reading a book or doing this thing, and then my parents would have to be both attending to me, and I have a younger brother who they couldn't hang out with, because they had to help me with my schoolwork. And I was a lot to handle when I was younger, because of my ADHD and because of my dyslexia. But when I went to that school and I think it was even before just it took 3 months to get to this point, but within 3 months, that kind of, like, at the house, it wasn't like hectic. It wasn't, my parents, like, it took some weight off my parents, because what the school was doing, the way school was teaching me, I could actually understand. So I still need my parents' help, of course, but I was getting this stuff more, and I had more confidence in myself. So therefore they could, and the surprise is that happened, and that it just happened so quickly that I was able to go from, like, not understanding anything to, all this crazy stuff happening, and then I can actually, like, I'm actually learning, I enjoy myself, I'm happy, and it changed, like, everything at home too, and everything, and, like, it just, and that's a huge surprise, and I think that's part of the story. Like, I wasn't there, but I think that's part of the story, that this other student that my parents talked to before sending me to school told them, or this other student who went to school, their parents told them to my parents, and then my parents decided to send me to the school. But there is, for a lot of students, there is, not all, I don't think, but there is a big change when going there, because of the way that they teach you, and because of they don't make you feel you don't feel like anymore like you can't do this stuff. No, you can. It's just you have to be taught in a different way. Oh, very, very much. Well, obviously teach me that I can do what I want to do, and I can achieve my goals. But also with a little bit of help, there's nothing wrong with that. That's a big thing that I learned. And also it shaped me as a person. Because I was able to get past this academic, like learning stuff, which I still love to do, I was able to see that instead of just focusing on, getting an assignment done, like, once I got the assignment done, I could focus on, okay, I could start up a student council, or I could start up a mask, have like create a mascot in my school. Like I realized I could do other things instead of just focusing on the school side of school. And then that transfers into my entire life, where I realized I can do other stuff that I didn't think I can necessarily could do before. So that very early on, that opened up a whole bunch of stuff. And now where my life is now, it like I'm very, very happy. Like I never thought I would be working, well, like this summer I'm working for an MP, and I never thought I would be able to do that. This is a very neat opportunity, but I credit that very much to myself for working hard, but also very much to school for giving me those tools I need to show me. And then also I guess shaping me just to be I guess one of the other things it's taught me is that to be open about things, to be open about learning things a different way, but then also be open to people, and learn that not everybody is going to be able to do something, but that not everybody's can do something the same way you can do it, but that's perfectly fine. Because I've worked with so many kids who have all these different learning exceptions or other problems, but they still sometimes they still will amaze me, and I'm like, oh well, I really do believe that anyone can do, with a little bit of help, anyone has capacity to do anything really. And I think that's again comes a lot from Heritage Academy, going to that school. The one thing, and this is, I guess, I don't know if I would change this, but the school, because this, I guess this kind of goes towards what makes school also good, is that the school, it's when you drive up to it, it doesn't look the most fanciest school in the world. It's not like, so I've seen some private schools and they look really fancy. Some of them I think look like a castle or something. That's not what Heritage Academy looks like, but that's because they invest into learning, and they invest into they invest into the students, which I think is way more important. But one thing that I would do is if I could change them about school, is that not just give them more, or not give them more money, because that's not the way to fix something, but obviously that would be the starting point, but be able to have a lot more activities and maybe fix up some parts of the school. Not because it's still very safe and everything, it's still fine. It's just then the school is very creative in ways to still have very good learning there, but be able to have some more, for example, there's a gym that they couldn't always get because they had to buy it. There's a bigger gym, we have a small gym. And so maybe being able to find some way to get for the school to get that gym, or to have access to the gym. Because I think for 1 year that I was there, they bought the gym, so we were able to use that and had proper basketball nets in it. That still, not having the gym didn't take anything away from the learning of gym class, but it just being able to help them, I guess, how it expand their school. But then again, the thing that makes school really good is the small class sizes, and the fact that it's not this big fancy school and that they are investing in learning. I think that really makes a big difference, and it really makes you feel like you're part of a community instead of going to this big fancy school. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's if that makes sense. I still kind of want to go back, just because because of the pandemic, obviously, we had to stop going to school, so I got to miss my graduation. But I also I didn't really get to say goodbye necessarily. We did have a smaller graduation ceremony outside, very small, but I didn't get to see everybody, and leading up to it, I didn't get to lead up to it. So that was kind of, so I still kind of want to still feel like I should go back, even though it's been so long. But the one kind of, and this kind of weird for me, but this school, like, they gave me a lot of tools that I use nowadays. But the weird thing was that when I was actually going to school, I didn't necessarily, I was using everything I could, but I don't think I like, or maybe I just didn't realize, but I didn't use, like, I wasn't doing all that, like, I was doing other stuff, but I wasn't doing everything they were showing me. Or it wasn't like I at least never noticed that I was doing what they doing what they taught me to help me learn better. But now that I go to university and I'm doing this job right now, I realize that I'm using a lot of these tools. Specifically with spelling, I have a extremely hard time with my spelling, and now I'm part of the SMT program is that you break up the words. And so I'm realizing now that that's when I'm having to write an email or write up something or just anything, I'm using the same strategy of breaking up the words to spell a bigger word. And I'm using that, and there's tons of other things I didn't even know, like some things I didn't even know that they would actually be practical to use. But now that I'm like actually, and again, it's only been a year and I'm only going to university. But in my job too, I'm using these same skills and these same things they've taught me in my life, and it's helping me so much. That's not how I view the school, but that's something big, and that, well, I guess it shows me that, like, how much bigger that school helped me than just helping me get through high school. But for viewing the school, I think my view hasn't changed too much because it hasn't been that long. But I do remember more so, of course, like anything. I remember the fun times, and I remember I think there were a lot more fun times though than there were not so good. But I remember those, and I view it as I guess, well, now, like, I view it as like a really, I guess I haven't lived that long, but a really like fun time. And I view it as, some people, something that I found too is that some people say they didn't like high school, especially high school, but also just, I guess, going through school. I loved it. Now part of that might be because I love to learn. I love physics and math and having interesting conversations about English, but I loved going, I loved going to school every day. I looked forward to it. Like, I woke up every day saying I get to go to school today, yay. And I loved going and seeing everybody and everybody saying hi to me. And I missed that, and that was and I miss that so much. But today, especially in this pandemic, I'm realizing how important that was and how important that was a part of my life. To be able to have somewhere where I can go where I'm happy, and then most of the time I'm happy to go in and happy to, like, see people, but have people who know me and say hi to me, and yeah. I will definitely one of the biggest reasons is the fact that the fact that the teachers care. The fact that the school is there to serve you, they're there to help you. That's a huge one. The other fact is how, in most cases, how welcome you can feel, and how mostly accepting the students are. And the fact that, again, because small class sizes, you get to know everybody, makes it feel a lot more like a family. Well, actually, for any students out there who are looking at the school, it really, just on the academic side and actually learning, it really can help you, and they really do. They have helped tons of students get there, for students with learning exceptions, or even if you're just finding you're struggling a lot in school, they really do have different approaches, and I know I've said this sometimes, but it's true. The teachers do go the extra mile, and there really is a difference. There's so many kids out there with the same story about they had trouble with the other school system, with their previous school system. And so when you come here, you'll find that that's the same. And then the teachers will know how to help you, and will know you can come to the school with saying, oh, my student has this. And they'll say, oh yeah, in some cases they might say, oh yeah, we have another student with the same problem. And then they'll come up with a plan or something to help you. Oh, yeah, so I already talked a little bit about this, but the one thing is that you'll notice, or at least the thing my parents notice, is that it's not just when you do gain confidence in yourself, and when, like, if your kid gains confidence in self and they feel that they can do something, or they're learning in a way that actually works for them, like there's a big difference, in something that, especially for parents out there of kids with learning exceptions, you're the way you live at home and stuff, because I'm talking to students, it's not, there's extra issues that you have to deal with. There's extra, your house may be really hard sometimes because you're trying to teach your kid and they're crying, or they're they're getting angry because they can't understand they can't read the words, or they can't understand the question or something. Like I've talked about, but the thing is that it's not that they're and you as parents, you like, and this is, I believe this is mostly true, but you believe that your kid, they can do it, and they can, which is usually the case. They do the ability to do it, just they're not being taught in the way that they can. And the difference when they are being taught, and then you see the school really does believe that your kids can do it. The school, in most cases, the school really can, like, their school believes that like this is possible. Whereas you might go to the schools and the school might say to the parents, oh, sorry, your kid can't do this or isn't able to. At Heritage Academy, teachers and people, they really can see that, no, it's just that they have trouble with this, but they still have the ability. Just because they can't read the math problem, they can still do the math problem. That was like the big problem I think I had. And they really know how to get your student to, like, they really know how to teach them in a different way. And then at home, you might also notice a big difference at home, because there's that extra thing of the student feeling like not as confident, they can't do it, is gone. Or not completely gone, but there's a lot less stress taken off you at home. First of all, welcome to the school. I hope you like it. I have a feeling that you will. But Heritage Academy is there to serve you. They're there to help you. So, like, ask for, if something's not working, or if you don't understand, it's okay to say, I don't, like, raise your hand or whatever, go to the teacher and just say, I don't understand this. And they'll be able to show you other things. They'll be able to show you other tools that you can use. Or they'll be able to show you a whole bunch of things. Try to take that in, try to learn different things, but try to don't take everything they're giving you, but work with them. But the biggest thing is that they're there to serve you. They're there to help you.
For more information about this school, you can visit their profile at ourkids.net.